What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Banter podcast. Let's go. We're super excited to do this. We've never done it. Well, I guess Weston has a YouTube channel, so he has done things on video. I haven't, so bear with me. But a lot of you guys know that I started a brand recently. We're doing BYU apparel, so figured that just to get more content out, that we'd throw some stuff out there. We aren't gonna just talk about BYU. We're gonna talk about sports in general. We're big Jazz fans, big NBA, college football. Weston's a big Cubs fan. Going to talk about a lot of different things on here, so it's not going to be exclusive to BYU, but it will be probably mainly about BYU. So excited to share this stuff with you. Weston's got some cool topics that we wanted to cover with you guys, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So yeah, pretty informal, but
Yeah, so basically, we wanted to talk a little bit about, what's going on Twitter right now, what's in the news, and obviously the talk is all around the Big 12, conference realignment, and what's going on with all the different conferences because there's a lot of movement right now in the college football scene, so everything's changing day by day. So there's a lot to go over, but we just wanted to talk a bit about Big 12 expectations because I feel like a lot of BYU fans are excited for football. Like we're chomping at the bit to get in there to compete. And we feel like we can, challenge for, I don't know about the championship, but we're going to be challenging for the top half of the conference. I feel like that's the expectations. And then basketball after the season, there's other expectations to say the least. So we just wanted to touch on that. So I guess first off, Dustin, what do you think? How are you feeling about football, and then how are you feeling about basketball going into the Big 12?
Yeah, so this is something that did quite a bit of research on. It's obviously a pretty straightforward topic in the sense of, you know, football versus basketball, like the early success that we could have on one end versus the other. I think it's pretty clear that football's in probably a better place headed into the Big 12 than basketball is. But you could still argue that that may not be the case because of some of the pieces that we lost this last offseason in football. So anyway, but yeah, kind of breaking it down. Took some notes here. So this is kind of interesting. I'm going to start off with basketball. So right now in the top 25, there are 6 Big 12 teams ranked. The number one team in the country, Houston.
Yeah.
Number 3, Kansas. Number 7, Baylor. Number 9, Texas. Number 11, K State. And number 22, TCU. So not only are there 6 teams ranked in the top 25 from the Big 12, but 4 of them are in the top 10, and K State's at 11. So yeah, I mean that speaks
Insane.
for itself.
Oh,
That speaks to the volume of competition. Uh, Obviously, I'm excited to be a part of it. I think that it's going to force us into a position of, we have to recruit better. We have to. We got to figure it out. You can't just get by, playing Gonzaga really close every couple of years. Like it's going to be Gonzaga every week. So that's one just quick thing that I'll point out. And I think looking forward to next year, 2 big things that are going to occur are losing Rudy Williams. He's averaging 13 points a game this year. I know that there are mixed reviews on him, on what people think about him. I think that he's been a bucket this year. Like he's had some really big games. He beat Utah pretty much single-handedly. He had like 26 or something in that game. He understood the assignment to go into that game as a rivalry and win. I love it. Um, I know that he's turned the ball over a lot this year, and it's put him on the bench a couple of times, especially early on in the season. But I think that he's going to be a big loss. Brings a lot of experience to the team, leadership as well. Gideon George, on the other hand, he's been on the team for a couple of years. He brings some leadership and experience as well. I wouldn't say like he's a game breaker per se, but the experience and leadership can be a big loss heading into a conference where there's a lot of that. So those are like my initial thoughts on basketball. Um, yeah, that's kind of my initial thoughts on basketball. Maybe I'll jump to football after hearing from you, but
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to basketball, I'm just gonna give myself zero expectations because
that's fair.
I mean, let's be honest. BYU, they're going to struggle, and no matter what, they're going to struggle, and it's going to be for the better. I mean, just being in that conference and being with those teams and at that level, it is going to help our recruiting. Obviously, with BYU, there's the recruiting is complicated, and we haven't really had any star guys that came into BYU like already stars out of high school. We've had guys develop into stars,
Mhm.
but I think going into the Big 12, we will have a shot at some of those guys because Utah, we have great talent all across the board when it comes to football or basketball. It's just a matter of getting that exposure, being on the biggest stage, and being able to show what kind of talent that we have. So in that respect, I'm excited for the Big 12. Obviously, like you said, stacked from top to bottom. It's insane how good this conference is, and there's rumors of adding Gonzaga, which is if they add Gonzaga, like
Uh,
we could be below 500 and still be on the bubble. It'd be
yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
but
I've heard the same about St. John's too. I don't know if that's. I
really,
mean, it's they're all rumors, right? They're all being thrown out by different Twitter accounts, so it's hard to know. But
yeah, but I mean, and then you think about just going to the games and just being in that atmosphere every single home game, and then also potential road trips to
I
Kansas.
got to get my season tickets.
Yeah, man, like, it's gonna be insane. Like, the Marriott Center is already one of the best venues, being in the West Coast
Absolutely.
Conference, playing these teams that have high school gyms. I'm not trying to hate on the West Coast Conference because we're
No, it's true though. You're
currently the
right.
5th seed in the West Coast Conference. So we don't really have room to talk this season.
Thus the low expectations, though, right?
Right, exactly. So it's going to be so much fun, regardless of if they compete right away. I don't think that matters a whole lot. We're just excited to be in the big boy club at this, have a seat at the table along with football. But yeah, I would caution, and I think BYU fans already know this, but any expectations as far as basketball is concerned should probably be left at the door for at least the first couple years, maybe longer,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Yeah, and I think there's some bright spots there, like, Colin Chandler will be coming into the system. He's the highest rated recruit ever at BYU. I
Yeah.
looked it up. I was surprised by that. You had those Lone Peak big 3 that came through. They were right there as well, and, they won some big games. They did some great things. Um, and then guys like Trent Place did, but really Lee Camard too. But like Jimmer Fredette wasn't highly recruited coming out of college or high school, right? It's always been a development thing at BYU, and that has to change. And it's the same in every sport, right? Not just
Yeah.
basketball, football, everything. Um, you can't just be the development team anymore. You got to go chasing those stars, and you can recruit against it, and you're going to have to figure it out in your own way because of what you mentioned. It's a little different here at BYU because of honor code and other things that go on. So, but yeah, I agree. Keep low expectations headed into the Big 12. But I'll tell you what, Weston, this is how I'd kind of wrap up this. I'd rather lose by 30 at Kansas than lose by 30 at Pepperdine.
100%.
So,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just gonna be fun. We're gonna be able to be on the biggest stage. I don't know about the biggest stage because there have been some games that have been broadcast to the Big Ten when there's like huge matchups in the Big 12 on ESPN.
makes no
Yeah,
sense.
that's been frustrating, but still, like, everyone knows the Big 12 is the basketball conference. It's the best basketball conference in the country by far. And so it just had have BYU in that realm. It's gonna be awesome. So still be super excited for it.
Absolutely. Okay, so as far as football goes, man, football. I'm
Yeah.
I'm so excited. It's like Christmas for me.
Oh yeah.
Having that seat at the table. Um, truck stop conference or not. I don't freaking care what you think.
I've
I'm
st-
so
what is
excited.
that all about? The
I don't
truck
know. We
stop thing?
look. Here's the thing: the Big 12 had a team in the national championship this year. Regardless of the outcome, we had a team in the championship. We had a team in the playoff last year in Cincinnati. So talk all you want. I haven't seen the Pac-12 in there in a minute. So talk, say whatever you want to say. So with that being said, looking back, because obviously we can't really look at preseason rankings, they don't really mean anything. Final rankings of this past season, the Big 12 finished with 3 teams ranked in the final rankings. TCU obviously at number 2, K-State at 14, and Texas at number 25. I think it was kind of a down year, honestly, because you don't have like Oklahoma, for example, ranked in
Right.
that top 15. I know they're leaving the conference, but they're still part of the Big 12 for another year. So they're
Iowa
in the
State was
list.
super
Yeah.
hyped the year before too, and they kind of came down.
Yep. Yep. I mean, new coaching will do that for you too, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm sure that Oklahoma will have a bounce back year this year. But I think that, once again, you have that playoff appearance in TCU, which is cool, or national championship, excuse me. Uh, K State beat them in the Big 12 championship,
Yeah.
so that's awesome. And Texas is going to have Arch Manning, and we're going to be playing at Texas this year, so I will be there for sure.
Yeah, man.
I'll figure it out. But here's the thing: so breaking this down, so we know that BYU is losing a truckload of talent, that they lost coaches, lots of changes coming to the program. Some key losses are Jaron Hall, Puka Nakua, Chris Brooks, Lapina Katoa. This list is pretty long. I'm going to name a couple quick. D'Lo, Caleb Hayes, Gunnar Romney, Lorenzo Fauatea, Earl Tuioti Mariner, Keenan Peely, Logan Fano, the Barrington brothers, Gabe Judy Lawley, Jacob Conover, etc. Right. The reason I list Jacob Conover on there is because a lot of people thought he was the future and he's gone. So
Yeah.
lots and lots of really talented people being lost to the transfer portal and also to graduating. Uh, that's really concerning. But on the flip side of things, oh yeah, also Coach Tuiaki stepping down. Um, on the flip side, you're gaining Jackson Bowers. He's the highest graded guy in the class, 4-star tight end at Arizona. Had offers to a bunch of big schools. Eddie Heckard coming over from Weber State, NFL caliber cornerback, played under Jay Hill up there.
Hmm.
Uh, Ciali Ezra, who almost flipped away from BYU. I think he was getting recruited pretty heavily from UCLA until Jay Hill told him to stop. Aiden Robbins, who
Yeah.
could have come to BYU out of high school, ended up at Louisville and then UNLV, and now he's excited to be here. The name I'm most excited about, LJ Martin. We period. This kid's gonna be a dog.
Yeah.
Keaton Slovis, he had a great year at USC. Josiah Phillips, Jackson Cravens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So lots of good additions, plus the new defensive staff under Jay Hill, K-pop, uh, Justin Ina, and Sione Paua, and obviously keeping Coach Guilford. So I'm excited. Obviously, it's hard for me. I always put the blue goggles on when it comes to football. Um, I think you got to keep expectations low still with, you're losing your starting quarterback, period. So, and an NFL caliber receiver, but still have some dogs out there, Cody Epps, Keanu Hill, Chase Roberts, right,
Yeah.
to throw to. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I could see them in that upper half of the Big 12. Maybe I'm up in the night. I put them at 500, 6-6. Maybe you can decide on the bowl game whether they win that or not. But
Hmm.
I put them at 6-6 prior to a bowl game, and hey, I'll take 6-6 in year one with the new quarterback, new coaching.
To
Yeah,
be bowl eligible your first year jumping in to a Power 5 conference, that's huge. I mean, look at where Utah was in their first few years in the Pac-12.
yeah,
Not anywhere near that. And
Yeah.
given, I mean, BYU has had more preparation. They're not going straight from the Mountain West
Right.
to the Big
Big
12.
difference for sure. Yeah.
Yes, but that's awesome. I mean, that's we've been preparing for this. Not, I don't know, and yeah, like there was a vision. Like obviously, we didn't want to be independent forever, and it's
Yeah.
finally happening. And it does seem like BYU is committed to getting a good product on the field and having great coaching to develop these players and compete at the highest level possible. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. I'm I'm really hoping. We'll see what happens. But Keaton Slovis is a stud, dude. I don't care what people say. People are sleeping on him. He crushed it at USC, had a great freshman year there. Had some injuries early on. Jackson Dart came in. Jackson Dart's a dog, good player. Um, started taken away from playing time there due to injury once again. Uh, Pitt, he went to Pitt. The OC that recruited him there was the OC for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett got drafted in the NFL, is playing for the Steelers. Uh, Balled out at Pitt that year. Really good team. Um, right when he gets there, the OC dips out that
Right.
recruited him. They get a new OC, and then Jordan Addison transfers to USC, who was the number one wide receiver in the country the year before.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I'm
what do you
not.
do? What do you do?
I don't.
Now
I
he's at
don't
BYU.
hold. Yeah, I don't hold that Pitt year against him at all. I'm expecting a lot of great things from him this year going into the Big 12. I'm excited. I mean, it's gonna be. I don't think they haven't named him the starter yet, have they?
No,
No, obviously not. So
but
there's gonna be a
I mean, it's
battle going in through spring ball and
yeah,
everything, but he's gonna be the guy. So I'm excited. I think he's got experience, obviously playing in P5 games his whole career. Couldn't quite get it done in Provo, as we know, but
Provo's a weird place,
yeah,
man.
that's so funny. But yeah, I'm excited. I think we'll be fine at the quarterback position. I think we'll be fine at the running back position.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I
Puka,
can't wait.
yeah, Puka is gonna be, I think, very, very dearly missed.
Yeah,
W he might be the best wide receiver BYU's ever had as far as athleticism goes.
arguably. Oh,
Just like
athleticism, I'd say yeah,
raw
right up there
talent.
with Cody Hoffman, probably.
Yeah, Cody Hoffman, yeah. But Puka, man, he was next level. He was so explosive. So, oh man, he
He
took
was
us to another
quick.
level. And
Hmm.
granted, we didn't have him for a lot of the season, so that's what gives me hope that other guys are going to step up. Chase Roberts kind of burst onto the scene. Cody Epps, obviously, and hopefully Keanu Hill continues to develop and just gets better. So I think we'll be fine on offense, honestly. And
Hmm. Isaac Rex coming back at
yeah,
tight
Isaac
end.
Rex, I think we'll be actually fairly good.
Mason Wake coming back again.
Yeah, so
Hopefully they'll actually use him to block this year on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 situations. Come on, guys.
yeah, let's see some power eye.
Golly.
But
Dame, Notre Dame,
yeah,
Notre Dame, Notre Dame. Anyway, I'm
and
salty because I spent a lot of money on that game to watch us choke at the end.
yeah,
So,
that was very frustrating to watch.
yeah.
But did you see that play that Kansas City used in the Super Bowl from BYU?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I think it all is going to rest on what Jay Hill can concoct over on the defensive end. Obviously, there were some struggles last year, um,
Mhm.
but
I mean, pressure. Got to pressure the quarterback. I don't care. Here's the thing. Power 5 football, the drop 8 can't always work because you have really talented quarterbacks that play at the Power 5 level that probably a lot of the time have a good O line that'll give them enough time to sit back in the pocket, get comfortable, especially when you're playing BYU. No pressure. We're looking at the past, right? Not the future. We don't know what the future holds, but like they haven't been able to get to the quarterback. And so guys like, I think of that Washington game in 2019 when they came to Provo and they beat us down bad. I
mhm,
think I was with you. Yeah, I was with you at the game. And yeah, what's his name? Jacob Eason.
yeah,
He sat in the pocket all day long and he just threw dimes. He
yep.
had all day. The drop 8 wasn't gonna get to him. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna throw a pick. I'm just gonna wait for somebody to get open, or I'm gonna, throw check down passes to the sideline, and we're gonna score. and they did. That doesn't always work. You got to get to the quarterback.
Yep.
Got to switch it up. You got to be what's the word? You can't be easy to read, right?
Yep. So hopefully we see some changes on that side. And if they have just a decent like middle of the road defense, I think they're in a great position.
It's the Big 12. They don't play defense anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's a
No, I
little
agree. I agree.
yeah, but yeah, I'm super excited. Same thing as basketball. Every game, every home game is going to be amazing. Every road game is going to be a bucket list. To go
Yeah.
to go watch them play in these stadiums and in the Big 12 and just be a member of the Big 12. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to make it to every single home game, but I'm going to try and make it
Yes, you will.
to as many as I can. And
Weston lives in North Carolina, by the way.
yeah,
I'm in American Fork, so
yeah, so it makes it a little bit difficult, but
yeah.
yeah, we're excited, and it's gonna be fun to continue to watch this team develop through spring ball, through the summer, and see how they mesh and get it going into the Big 12, starting in July. I think it is right, the official day.
Let's go.
So
Yeah. Dude, I'm
and
so excited.
so that'll kind of transition us into our next topic, which is just kind of conference realignment in general, because there's been a lot of kind of stirring the pot again recently with rumors coming out again about the Pac 12. And then I've heard some stuff about the ACC starting to negotiate different things
The
and whether or not,
Alliance.
yeah, whether or not the Big 12 is still open for business, which according to your mark, they are, and if other teams are open for business as well. So I guess first question when it comes to conference realignment, what is your ideal scenario here? Is it maybe the Big 12 takes? There's talking that the Arizona schools are kind of, if there were teams to leave the Pac-12, that they would be the first ones to be willing to leave, or are you wanting the Pac-12 to stay a conference just for college football's sake, that it's good for the league, that's good for the sport to have still these regional conferences across the country rather than just being all into some kind of super conference or whatever it could develop into? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like ultimately, whether we like it or not, it's going to come down to, money. It really doesn't have anything to do with winning a lot of the time. I mean, obviously, tradition of winning's one thing, like Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, right? Those are blue bloods college football. But Georgia, right? Um, I just think of like Utah. I just keep thinking of Utah. Like Utah's had a lot of success dating back to 2004, oh 04, oh 08. What year was it? Last year, this year, right? Like lots of New Year's Six bowl appearances, all this stuff. Like way more success than most teams have had in the country. And but that's not always what's most important when it comes down to conference realignment. And I think we're going to start seeing that as these conferences break down and move around, and money's thrown around, and gore is being tapped in, like all this stuff that we're learning about media rights, and you
Yeah,
know that all comes into play. And when we're looking at the Big 12, you mentioned the four corner schools. They're talking a lot about them: Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah. I think U of A, ASU totally makes sense. I could see them making the jump. Colorado, I could see them making the jump. Colorado had more success in the Big 12. I feel like that they fit that mold better at the time.
right.
I feel like they regret the move to the Pac 12 at this point. Um,
I think the
but
fans do. I think Colorado fans want to be in the Big 12. I think the administration wants to be in the Pac 12. I think the
yeah,
administration likes being in the Pac 12. They like considering themselves, among the elites of the West. They want
yeah,
to be associated with that. But the fans of Colorado football want them in the Big 12. That's what
absolutely.
I've seen.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to money, TV rights. BYU owns the Utah market. They do, regardless of how many games they win. They always will. Uh, it's the church, like all the members, lots of them are fans. It's a national or international brand.
Yeah.
It's a thing. I know Utah fans hate it, but it is a thing. You have to agree it's a thing. And BYU owns the Utah market, so I do not see the pull there other than recent success for Utah. Um,
So are you talking pull to?
to the Big 12, Utah joining the Big 12.
Okay.
I don't see the Big 12 like really pursuing them hard. I don't see them making them a priority. Um, but the other thing that's interesting too is like I look at Oregon, Washington, and these are really good brands that don't fit the Big 12 mold at all. But they're great brands and they would bring a lot of value to the Big 12. They would immediately be the best brands in the conference with Texas and OU leaving. And it's not really arguably, it is. It is what it is. Um, but I don't think that I love the idea of those two schools using us as a doormat
Right.
to get into the Big Ten, or like some sort of clause in the contract where they can break it and head over to the Big Ten. Uh, I just don't think that that's a smart move by Yorkman. I'd rather have or sorry, Yormark. I'd rather have teams that are more committed to the move. Um, and then also like Stanford, Cal, I think of those teams. Stanford obviously brings all this value and stuff. Well, truth is their football team sucks. They haven't been good since Andrew Luck and Christian McCaffrey played there. Cal hasn't been good since freaking A-Rod. Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun Jackson. Uh, I just don't. I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of these Pac 12 teams that aren't realistic options for the Big 12. And I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to three schools from the Pac 12: Colorado, ASU, U of A. Everyone else would be kind of like nice to haves. I think that we're not talking enough about some of those ACC teams. And I think the Big 12 is over there exploring a lot of those. They're not going to get the Clemsons of the world. They're not going to get the Florida States of the world. But hey, they could get the Virginia Techs of the world. Teams like that, the Georgia Techs or the whoever else.
Is UNC is North Carolina
And
going to be Big 12 country?
UNC Duke. I don't see that happening. I'm thinking of like the other brands, right?
Yeah.
The NC States,
Ooh,
the
NC State. Yeah, I can
the
see that.
teams like that aren't quite North Carolina, you know.
I couldn't
Um,
see Duke in the Big 12. No.
I don't either, but I do see Virginia Tech in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I do. West Virginia's in the Big 12.
Yeah,
They're clear over on the East
that'd
Coast.
be great for them.
I see Virginia Tech. I think they'd
That's
be
a
a
great
great fit.
rivalry.
Virginia, they could be in the Big 12, especially if Bronco Mendenhall was still there.
Mhm.
No, but I think that we're not talking enough about those East
Yeah.
Coast schools. And I know that the ACC has like this whole thing going on where they're locked in through like 2036 and just I don't know. I don't know all the details.
Yeah.
I need to learn more to be honest, but I think that there are options and the Big 12 needs to continue to stay open for business.
Oh,
So,
definitely. I mean, you have to. There's not an
yeah.
option to be like, "Oh, we're good. We have the teams we want and we're going to ride with these teams." Like, yes, these teams are need to stick together and need to be committed to the conference in order to keep it alive, but you have to be keeping your head on a swivel because it's eat or be eaten right now in college football.
Yeah.
And that's the state of the Pac 12. That's the state of the Big 12. And if you're not in the Big 10 or the SEC, like your future is uncertain. You don't know what's going to happen in next year, 2 years, 5 years. So if you're not open for business, then you might as well just close up shop right now. Is
Yep.
is basically how it is. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think Stanford, Cal, I think they close up their football program before they join the Big 12.
For sure. It's just not a good fit.
Like they will never join the Big 12. It's just not going to happen. Um, there and as far as yeah, I agree with you when it comes to Oregon, Washington. I don't want to be, their side piece to put it.
Don't want to be your side chick, bro.
Yeah, to just kind of holding out until another invitation that's better for them comes along. But I mean, at the end of the day, if if they accept, or if it comes down to that, which I don't know if it will, but you might just have to take them. You might have to.
I wouldn't say no at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna be honest. I like my pride is telling me I don't want that to happen,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
screw that. I don't want these guys just using us as a doormat,
We do. Yeah. We
you
don't.
know?
We don't want to help the Pac-12
No,
in
I
any
don't
way.
want to help them. I don't want to help. Why would BYU fans want to help the Pac 12? There are so many reasons why we wouldn't want that, you know? And, but at the end of the day, hey, why not? Don't care. We're already in the Big 12. And I'm sure if they make those moves, then they'll be looking at other schools. And I think like the ultimate goal for your mark should be how can we solidify ourselves as the third conference?
Right.
SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and then everybody else.
Yeah. And Big 12, not necessarily meaning 12 schools, but just kind of the best of the rest type
Yeah,
thing where,
maybe 20 teams, just like the SEC and Big 10 are going to end up being.
yeah. And yeah,
So,
I think that is why, because there has been debate whether the Pac-12 or the Big 12 are even in better positions comparatively, and I think the Big 12 is for that reason, just because they did get a jump start on the additions of the schools that they got. There's really kind of slim pickings outside of the schools that have already joined the Big 12 that aren't going to jump to the Pac-12 to.
and they locked in their media deal.
Yeah,
That's the biggest
that
thing,
was
right? Like,
huge.
here's our fund, right? Here's our fund. Uh, Whoever's going to get back to us with the best opportunity, we're going to work with them. Well, Big 12 came back. They worked quickly, swiftly, got a deal done, got teams added, and there's not enough money to go around for everybody. So,
Mhm. Now,
Apple Plus, here we come.
now you can tune into the Pac-12 on Ion next year or in 2025 or wherever their media
Pac
rights
12 is
build
going to
up.
be on PBS.
Oh man,
I
so
love it.
yeah, all that is crazy. But yeah, great move by the Big 12 just jumping on it, because they're talking about SMU, and they're talking about, I mean, San Diego State would be a good addition. Um,
Totally makes sense.
yeah, and but SMU, I mean, I get it's the Dallas market, but I mean, we have TCU, we have um, all of Texas pretty much. Um, so as far as that's concerned, I'm not worried about SMU joining the Pac-12 or anything if that happens. But it kind of talking about conference realignment and just looking at an ideal world, you know, not looking at the past slights that the Pac 12 has given BYU over the years, the constantly sticking your nose up at the program and coming up with excuses as to why BYU is not good enough for the Pac 12. Would you rather have the BYU with Utah in the Pac 12 or the Big 12? I personally, this might be a hot take, but politics aside, past relationships aside, I would prefer BYU in the Pac 12 as it stands now with Utah, because geographically speaking, it makes sense. It's more close to the West. Um, the schools there would be awesome traditions, even with the lack of interest as of lately. It would be amazing to go to the Rose Bowl, to have an automatic bid to the Rose Bowl if you win the conference, to be with Oregon, Washington. But it's great that they're in the Big 12, but I think in ideal world, in my opinion, I would love them in the Pac 12 with Utah.
That is a hot take. Jeez, BYU fans are going to burn this video down on Twitter. No. I'm surprised you said that.
Really?
Yeah, that threw me off.
This is an ideal world. Like, as it stands now, I 100% am happy in the Big 12 because I hate the Pac 12. I hate everything that they stand for. I hate everything that they claim to
I
stand
hate their
for.
fans. I hate their program.
Yeah, let me get on my Max Hall soapbox here. But I mean, just all that aside, it just makes more sense at the end of the day, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. So here's my thing. I think it doesn't make sense. And here's why. Excuse me. Um, Geographically, sure. But we've also come to I hope that we're coming to the terms with the fact that geography doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter in recruiting because of NIL. It doesn't matter with conferences. You've got teams, USC and UCLA are going to be playing in Ann Arbor. Okay. They're going to be playing at Rutgers. Makes no sense at all geographically. In
Oh.
fact, it's going to be funny to see USC in a snowstorm. I love it. I love it. It's going to be awesome. I'm actually really excited to see it. I love the move. Um,
I hate it.
and so with that being said, uh, the other side of it, it's exactly what we were talking about before. BYU is not a good fit for the Pac-12, Pac-10, I should say. They're not a good fit for them. Like the Pac-10, they hate BYU. Obviously, BYU could have joined the conference years and years and years ago, way before Utah did, but they got denied. You know, there's a lot of history there. Uh, yeah, like it's always been a thing where they don't want BYU. Cal, Stanford, they don't want BYU. Other schools, I can tell you what, I went to the Oregon game last year and I went to the Washington game in 2018. They don't want BYU. They don't like BYU. And a lot of it has to do with religion and other things too that have nothing to do with athletics, but it is what it is. Would the Rose Bowl be sweet? Yes. Does it make sense geographically? Yes. But I would rather be in a conference that has passionate fan bases that show out to football games, that show out to sporting events, best basketball conference in America. Yeah, it sucks to lose Oklahoma, Texas. Like I hate that so much. I wish they were sticking around, but I'm really excited to be heading to Texas. Hey, what it's just as cool to play at Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Like you play in the Big 12 championship. That'd be sick. You know? Cotton Bowl, let's go. It's not the Rose Bowl, it's Granddaddy. But hey, been to a game there too.
Yeah.
I've been to a game at both stadiums. Let's go, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
I have been to the Rose Bowl, and yeah,
whoops.
so it's not do or die, but yes.
I get it though. Yeah. So I guess I didn't even answer the question, Wes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish what you're gonna say and then I'll answer the
Um,
question.
yeah. So what was I gonna say? I mean, I think I forgot, but you can keep going. I might remember as you're
I
talking.
apologize. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Um at the end of the day, I don't know. I've had a lot of negative experiences over the last 10 plus years with the success of Utah going to games up at Rice Eccles, coming so close, losing close games over and over again, talent gap, all this stuff. Just put up with a lot of crap, and you have too. We all have. You've been right next to me, sitting right next to me in a lot of those games. It is so frustrating. I I do not want to. I don't want anything to do with them. Like I really don't.
Wait,
I'm
wait,
kind
you're
of
talking
like,
about Utah specifically right now?
yeah, Utah, because we're talking about like whether we want to play in the Pac-12 or the Big 12 with them, right? Um, I would rather them just stay where they're at, and then we go to the Big 12. We schedule them as a non-conference game at the beginning of the season or the end of the season. We can do it at the end of the season now, technically. I mean, right? Maybe
Okay,
not.
okay,
Whatever.
okay.
Keep playing them at the beginning of the season because we've been doing it for 10 years now. Just keep doing that. Do I prefer that? No. If we're going to play Utah, I'd rather play on the last game of regular season, game 12 or game 11. Thanksgiving weekend, actually. Wherever it was before, whatever week that is. What week is that?
I mean, week 12, we always played them.
Yeah, week 12. I'd prefer that, but like, dude, I would rather the Pac-12 fold. They end up in independence for 10 years. They get put on an island. They have to feel what we felt. That's the bitter side of me. Now, the other side of me says, would it be good for the rivalry? Dude, BYU and Utah in a conference together is the best thing for the rivalry if you like rivalries. If you hate rivalries, you want to steer clear of this rivalry. It is toxic.
Okay, yeah, let me know. Okay, yes, the rivalry can be toxic between BYU and
It
Utah.
is
It is
toxic.
toxic. It's always been toxic. But here's what I'm saying. What is college football? Why is college football so different from
What was college football?
exactly from the NFL, from now we have the XFL, the CFL, anything? It is unique because it's a regional sport. It's a regional sport with regional rivalries for regional viewers to care about. That is why people are losing interest. And making these super conferences is just turning it into the NFL. We're losing the rivalries, we're losing the regional meaningful games, these traditional games that have been played for decades now. We're losing exactly what makes college football so special. And that's why a part of me, yes, everything you said I 100% agree with, but a part of me just wants everything to go back to the way it was, to have these regional games, the West Coast, the Midwest, the East, the Southeast, play in those games, have out of conference games every now and again as something kind of special and unique, and then these bowl games. Because that's just what I love about college football. That's why it's so unique compared to these other leagues, and that's what makes it so great. And that's what has taken us to where we are today. And I know money has kind of corrupted everything, and it's just never going to go back to that. But just a part of me just yearns for those days.
Yeah, I agree with that. That is what college football is about. It's about rivalries. It's about bowl games and upsets and, yeah, regional games. And that's how it's always been. And fans want to see games that, like,
But
I
okay,
enjoy
what
watching
does
BYU.
watching UCLA play Minnesota do for you
No, yeah,
emotionally?
I get it. I get it. I get it. I do. Once again, though, I do want to see UCLA playing in a snowstorm in Minnesota.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's a joke. It's such a
yeah,
joke.
yeah, it is. It is a joke, and those programs are going to lose a lot of football games up in that area because of weather and the flight. I'll tell you that. But money will take care of a lot of things, and
Yeah,
they'll be fine.
yeah, they'll
But
be fine.
especially with Lincoln Riley, they'll be right. Mark my words. Give USC a couple years, they'll be right back in the playoff or like knocking on the
Oh,
door.
next
They
year they'll
they
be in
were
the
a couple
playoff.
games away. Yeah,
Next
they're
year
a
they'll
couple.
probably be favorites to win the whole thing.
Yeah, and they'll get crushed by an SEC team. But anyway, let me just make it clear. I want to play Utah every year. I do. I want the rivalry to. It runs in my deep in my blood, in my body. It is everything, But I don't care to play in the same conference. I don't. And it's mainly because I just want them to suffer.
I agree.
I really do. It's
I
just the
feel you.
bitterness. I want them to suffer for 10 years or so in the Mountain West Conference or Independence so they can figure it out. They won't go to Mountain West Conference, but in Independence, while they hope for a Big Ten
I don't
invite,
think they could survive independence, dude.
I don't know. But they probably can. They've made a lot of money in the Pac-12.
Not every team can go independent.
It's true. But I mean, UMass is independent.
And look at them, dude.
I know. I know. Uh with Utah's luck, they'll probably go independent when the Pac-12 crumbles, and then they'll end up in the Big Ten in like 5 years, and I'll be pissed. But
Uh, do
no,
not say that. Do not say that.
no, no. But honestly, if I had a crystal ball in front of me and I was looking at it and I was predicting the future, this is what I'll predict. The Pac 12 will not fall apart unless Oregon and Washington get that magic invite. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, Oregon and Washington are keeping them afloat.
But if they get left on an island in the Pac 12 will continue forever. Okay, not forever. Take cut that out. I'm just kidding. It'll continue to do what it's been doing. They'll add SDSU. They'll probably add SMU or some random schools. SDSU totally makes sense, but they'll probably add some other schools that are like probably should be G5.
I'm trying to think who else would even qualify.
The only university, in my opinion, in the country that's left that should not be a G5 university as things stand right now is probably San Diego State. Boise State has fallen off.
They don't have the facilities.
They don't they don't have a lot of things. Like if we're looking, it's not just football. Basketball they've actually had a good couple of years, but as a whole, they are not there. They're not there. Will they get there? I think they will. Boise State will. Might take 10, 15 years. Maybe it'll take 5.
Memphis is kind of on the fence.
Memphis is on the. There's a couple of teams, but like San Diego State, I can sit here
Yeah.
and say yes,
Yeah,
yes,
they
yes.
make so much sense for the Pac.
Brand new football stadium. Freaking
Questionable
quiet.
football
Yeah,
stadium.
yeah,
Controversial football stadium.
yeah. Guys like Kawhi Leonard played at San Diego
Yeah.
State. Like they have a tradition of winning in basketball. They do well in the tournament.
The
Their
show
fans are.
is a Power 5 account on Twitter.
The show is a douchebag.
Oh my god.
Okay. F you, the show. Okay.
Your student
Um,
is the classy student section in the country.
hey, there are some of those games, by the way, that I do miss in the Mountain West Conference. I miss playing San Diego State every year, which I guess we have been lately.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a little different not being in the same conference.
Yeah.
I miss New Mexico
Pitt.
playing in the pit. The pit, yeah, those are some good games,
Those were
dude. Jimmer
some.
Fredette, baby.
UNLV was good too.
Yeah, UNLV. I miss. Those are the 3 teams. Utah State. I don't give a crap about. I don't want anything to do with Utah State in any sport.
Exactly.
I could care less if
100%.
they fall off a cliff
Yep.
and like go do their own thing. I don't care. I don't care about Utah State. I don't care. Don't want anything to do with it. But yeah, UNLV, San Diego State, New Mexico. I do miss those basketball games for sure.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are fun.
A little off topic. Sorry.
Yeah, no. But yeah, man, do you have anything else to add? I mean, I think I got what I wanted off my chest. Had a little vent sesh there.
For sure. I guess the only thing that I'll say to wrap up is remember 2 words this offseason heading into the new football season. Cody Epps. Okay.
Let's go.
Buy stock in Cody Epps right now. Buddy's going to ball. He's going to ball this fall, I promise you. We'll get this pushed out. We'll probably start pushing out some clips here and there on Twitter or whatnot, YouTube. Weston's going to probably take the reins on this since he's got. Oh, yeah, Weston. Before we continue this podcast series, I wanted to give Weston some time. I kind of mentioned that he has a YouTube channel that he started. He's doing some really, really cool things, some things that I've always wanted to do, and he's actually executing on them. So maybe you can tell him about that, and then we'll wrap up.
Hopefully we can collab on some videos here, Big 12 season, football season. But yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. It's just my name, Weston Ware, and it's intended for just any kind of sports lover. My intention is just kind of cover the sports that I love. Basketball, football, maybe some baseball. I'm not super like educated on baseball, but I love it. But yeah, just kind of covering things I like. I do stadium reviews where I kind of go to different stadiums and kind of get a feel for it. So if you guys are interested in more sports content, check it out on YouTube. And yeah, hopefully in the future we'll have me and Dustin doing some content on there as well, promoting banter and all that good stuff. So yeah, tune in if you'd like.
We're we're hoping to. I mean, we're still kind of talking about this, but we've toyed with the idea of going to the game
Yeah,
at the big house this year between Michigan, Ohio State. I would love to go to that game, dude.
we'll make it
I
work.
would love it. We got to make it happen. We got to. Would be the sickest stadium review. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Also, last thing, sorry, I'm extending this. I have shirts that I'm going to be dropping in a couple of days. So hopefully by the end of the week, they're literally in production as we speak. Graphic t-shirts, really excited about them. Don't want to give too much away right now, but make sure that you subscribe to the text club. You just put your phone number in. You can go on to banterofficial.com and subscribe that way, or you can go through our Instagram, Twitter, whatever. There's a couple different ways that you can do it. And you'll get early access to releases because some of the releases will be pretty limited. So you'll get them a day early. So keep an
huge,
eye out. Don't
huge,
sleep. Don't
huge.
sleep. Okay. Okay. Go
All
Cougs.
right, guys, go Cougs.